Hello, and welcome to Videos About Anything, where hopefully I make videos about anything. We will see. I'm not the biggest Childish Gambino fan. I'd say I'm just like a normal fan. I'm not like a fanatic or anything like that. I don't have Because of the Internet as my Instagram profile picture. I like most of his songs, and I like Because of the Internet a lot, but it isn't my favorite album of his, which is probably an unpopular opinion. I guess Awaken My Love is probably a lot of people's favorites as well, but for me it's always been 31520, and by always I mean since it came out. By no means is this album perfect, but because of when it came out and stuff, I just like I have so much attached to it that it's just really special to me. This was my pandemic soundtrack along with Claro's Immunity, and it just I don't know. It just makes me feel like nothing else. And I don't know if that's just a me thing, but I just like it's hard to feel that same level of emotion on this new version. Like, don't get me wrong, I really like Atavista in a lot of ways, and I think it's better in a lot of places, but as a whole, it just like it doesn't hit the same for me. And it's weird because at its core it's the same thing, but it just because of all of the changes, it just has a different vibe and impact to me. And I don't know how to necessarily put my finger on it, except kind of tried to. So that's what I'm doing today. I'm just gonna talk about it and talk about what I like, what I don't like. Um, that's it, really. So yeah, I'm just gonna get going. And right off the bat, I think the first thing Atavista does better than 315 is the intro. 000, if you've heard this song, kind of sucks. Atavista, on the other hand, which I'm talking about the song here, not the album, is way better. So good, actually. I think it sounds great. It's just a banger and it really sets up the album well. I clicked it. I expected the 000, but a little different, and what I got really just got me hyped, and I still listen to it a lot right now. It's not even really been a week, I don't think, but it's still I'm listening to it every day. It's a great track. I really enjoy it. And since I'm already talking about the new songs, I might as well talk about Human Sacrifice, which I also think is great. Both of these new songs fit really well, and I'm very glad they're here. And that's really all I have to say about the new stuff. I think it's great and a welcome addition. Since I'm on the topic of songs being new, might as well talk about the songs that are no longer present. The first one I'll talk about just real quick is Feels Like Summer. This I don't really count because it's still on streaming services under a single, and it came out before 315. I'm pretty sure it was 2019 that it came out, or 2018 or something. And I honestly never really knew why it was on 315. I think it like really fit the vibe, and it was sonically great, but it also like since it had already come out, I was kind of just like, okay, why is this here? You just kind of slot it in there. I don't know. I'm not bent out of shape over it not being on here. It always seemed like a finished song, anyways, which I assume is why it was released as a single. I guess that wasn't as quick as I thought it would be. The second cut track was the really aggressive 3222, which I've seen called Warlords. And yeah, I think I like this song. It was definitely one of the weaker moments on the original for me, but it never really fit. It did like it didn't vibe with the rest of the tracks at all. It was far too discordant and aggressive to really fit on this album. So it makes sense that it's cut, and I'm not bent up out of shape over it either. The most controversial cut of the bunch is Why Go to the Party, which wasn't technically cut, but shortened into an interlude. And apparently, according to its description on Genius, this was its original intent. It was supposed to be an introduction to Human Sacrifice. So I guess this does make sense artistically. For me, I always thought this song was kind of boring. I mean, it's great for the nostalgia and the emotional vibes, for sure. But am I that upset over it not being there? Not really. I always felt like it was too long to begin with. But again, I still do think it should exist and it should be available readily on streaming platforms. And then there are the changes to the songs themselves, and I think I'm just going to go track by track to describe those and give, I guess, a general review of the songs on both albums. A lot of these changes might just be sounds or vocals that were hidden under the mix before that are just, you know, they've been brought back up and they're audible now. I don't really know for certain what's new and what's just a consequence of the mixing, but either way, some songs sound different, some more than others, some drastically more than others, but we'll get all there. Speaking of the mixing, just, real quick, the songs just, like, objectively, they sound way better. The mixing and the production on the album in general is just, like, way smoother. It's crisp, it's clean, the vocals are much louder, harder, not harder, the opposite, the other word, easier to understand than ever before, and it definitely feels polished while also still feeling a little rough and rugged around the edges, although certainly not to the extent of the original, which is part of my gripe with this one. It almost sounds too clean in some places, and I do prefer the nostalgic, grimy vibe of the original, but at the same time, I do appreciate these new songs, or these new versions of the songs. But yeah, the mixing does definitely change the feel of the album, and how the album makes me feel. It's hit or miss, I guess. We'll just get into that now, starting with Algorhythm. Algorhythm to me is one of the songs on this new version of the album that just got a lot better. The new crispy coat of audio paint, if you will, is very nice, and it definitely helps the song sound better, and it's still just as much of a banger as it was before. Not much else to note about this one, other than there's a minor change or new sound I heard during my favorite part, and I'll just play you the clip of that. Was that in there before? The little spooky ghost noise? Cause that was hot. That was beautiful. Yeah, you can still hear it. It's still there. It might be there the whole time actually, but it's like it's not here. It's not on the YouTube version. It just doesn't exist. This song is way better on this album than it on the first one. I guess also the transition from this song into Time is just devastating. And I'll just show you that as well. I might have listened to this earlier. Wait, it faded out? Wait, it didn't like do the seamless. Wait. Is that what they did on this one? Maybe it's just me, but the old transition right there was so much better than this transition. This transition makes me feel nothing. I feel nothing. I don't care about this transition anymore. It is dead to me. This it's just, it was good as it. Okay, moving on. Time is really, it's weird to me. This is like one of the most, I don't know, I'm still on the fence with this one. I think this song sounds very similar to the old one at its core. Like, there aren't many additions or subtractions of any kind in this song. But the mixing and production quality just completely changes the way it feels in a way that almost no other song on this new album does. The dirtiness of the production and the robotic nature of the original just kind of hit different for me. I love how the vocals are clear now. I like being able to hear Ariana Grande in her full vocal performance. I think she did really great on this song, and when she's all robotic-y on the old version, it's hard to hear all of that, so I do like that. I love how crispy it is and all that. It just doesn't have the same emotional resonance. I'm getting sick of flubbing my fucking lines. It doesn't really have the same emotional resonance for me, though. Can I not just say words good? It kind of feels like the old version was like a big wave of sound where everything just kind of blended together. Nothing was really much louder than anything else. And you could just kind of close your eyes and that sound would just kind of carry you. And, it still does to an extent. But I think now that it's been mixed properly, it's not really a wave anymore. It's a mountain range, which I feel like what most songs are. And is normal, but also I really liked how, like, flat it was, I guess, where everything was, like, on the same level of volume, if that makes sense. I don't know. It's okay. It's great. I still like this one. I'm on the fence about whether or not I like it better per se, and I'm not sure I'm ever gonna choose. I just think I'm gonna go back to the old version a lot. Now, I've seen a couple people saying that 1238, or Millennial Love as I'll just call it, has been ruined. I don't really get that, actually. It definitely sounds a little different. I just, like, there's nothing egregiously different about it, and I don't think it really messes with the vibe of its original like Time does. It just sounds crisper and cleaner, which I can't complain about. The only thing that ruins it, and it's not really ruining it at all, is the way Time transitions into it. No. No. I will give you cutting out this long period of silence and chirping noises. I get that. But not even a little bit to make the transition work as well. Like, it just fades. Like, you can hear the faintest chirp and then it just... Oh, that's not... Alright, that was a quicker one. This is kind of the big one, at least for me. Not in terms of necessarily how much I'm gonna say, but like how different it is and how much I don't love how different it is. I actually recorded this one kind of off the dome, so I'll just splice that into here right now. Fly high, buddy. First of all, I don't even need to write this into the script. The transition is dead. I don't even need to listen to the end of this song to know that the transition is dead. It was perfect before, but because of that synth, and I will get to that synth, it's gone, it's dead. It still transitions in the same way, unlike Time. And it seems like it's gearing up for a punch, and then it's... You expect it to kick. When I first heard this album, I expected it to kick, and I got... This song was such a banger. So, firstly, the vocals on the original being fucked up seemed very intentional, and it worked really, really well. And I don't think them being super clean on the new version does it any favors. But I would say that is not even my biggest problem, really. My biggest problem, and let me see if it's in the old one, and I just couldn't hear it. Okay, yeah. Okay, so that synth was there. But it was like a background thing. Like it just added a little bit to it in the back. But now that it's like... now that it's so far in the front, it's just not as punchy anymore, and it's not as emotional or raw with it being as clean as it is now. And it's just so different in such a drastic way, and it's not in a way I particularly like. And that part still sounds great. Like, that part's still perfect to me, but it's just this intro portion that's really just so drastic and so different, I guess, from the way I expected it, that it really kind of messes with me a little bit, I guess. It's not the worst thing. Like, it's still a very fun, dancey, and listenable track. It's really just that really aggressive and heavy synth in the beginning part that messes with me, and the transition being off. Cleaner vocals is those are fine. Like, that's alright. And even on here, like, there's a little echo there, or like a little something or rather on the vocals that makes it sound closer to the original, more in line with the production and stuff. But then they feel less that way in here in the beginning. I don't know. Point is, this one did not change to my personal taste, but I do get it, I guess. So this one keeps growing on me, and I don't know if I care as much anymore. I think it's still good. The intro's still disappointing, but the rest of the song is still just as good as it was. Moving on from that one, Sweet Thang is interesting in a very similar way to how Time is, but not really. It's similar in the way where I don't necessarily think that the changes that were made are better or worse than the original. And by changes, I really mean Summer Walker's feature. It is different enough to where the vibe of it is different to me. The mixing in the song is good. I think it sounds better like all the other songs. The real confusing part for me, I guess, is Summer Walker's feature, because I liked the vocals at the end on the original a lot from Childish Gambino, and again, on my first listen, I was expecting that. I did not get that, and that's fine. I've adjusted. But also, going back to that original, those vocals get me way more emotional and hit me way harder than these new ones. Towards the end, of the very end of the song, where they're singing together and stuff, it's still there, I think. There was just, like, something so raw about the way he was singing in the original that just, like, I don't think was necessarily translated into this feature. But I do think the feature sounds great. I think she has a great voice and did a great job. It's not my precious original. And, that's alright. It's just nostalgia, really. I still like it a lot, and I also think the new version is enough to justify it having a separate existence on streaming platforms. Just saying, you'd make so much more money if you had both versions of the album, because they're so different. I would absolutely listen to both versions of the album if they both existed on streaming services. And also, bonus points, transition into this song was good. Happy. It's not one of those stupid fade to black transitions that, like, the original's transitions were so good. So good. And I'm actually glad that the 1.5 minute long, like, quiet outro at the end was not cut, because that gives me nostalgia as well, and definitely helps the song hit harder, in my opinion. Alright, and just like Sweet Thang, this next one interests me in a very similar way. It's just a better mixed version of the original with a feature. However, like, on Sweet Thang, the feature felt like it made sense. Like, I could definitely see Summer Walker being on that song to begin with. I think she fits it really well. I think she vibes on it. I think it's hard. Why does this feature exist? And if it's not clear yet, I'm talking about Littlefoot Bigfoot with Young Nudie. It's so weird. First of all, the transition? My god. You can only imagine. It was so jarring. It was scary. I was confused. I was scared. I was upset. I didn't know what was happening to my precious Littlefoot Bigfoot, which is a song that I've always loved and thought was a banger. But yeah, I was expecting the final chorus, and then I got the most jarring beat switch I've maybe ever heard in my life. And I like the feature. I think it sounds nice and like I like the beat a lot. The problem is just that like it doesn't fit. It doesn't belong here. Why is this here? At least like it doesn't belong sonically. I don't know why I keep doing the left ear cup. Oh my gosh, I heard the sound of my left ear thing. I'll lock up that hand. And the other problem is that again, I've liked this song, so to have an entire chunk cut out of it and have this random feature slapped on top is just so confusing to me. It just, like, it doesn't sit right with me. But, I mean, like with a lot of these, I'm learning to love it, and I'm getting there. I do think, on its own, it's still a good song, and it's still, like, I still like the feature. It's just, like, I'd prefer the original, really. Okay, after he says, whoa, that peaked my mic. Okay, after he says that, and after the beat kicks in, I forget. But that period between Littlefoot, Bigfoot, and Young Nudie, or the beat dropping on Young Nudie, that is like a zone I don't like, don't want to be in, really. I've already sort of talked about why go to the party, and I don't really have a whole lot else to say about it, and really I don't have a whole lot to say about any of the cut songs either that I didn't already. And I've already sort of talked about Human Sacrifice, but since I didn't really talk a whole lot about it, here are my full thoughts. Now, the violence seems relatively untouched, and possibly completely untouched, outside of maybe some mixing touch-ups, but I think out of everything on the album, this song sounds the most similar to the original, and I like that. That is what I want, and yeah, it's still got the weird outro with the child going like, the outro, I really didn't even expect to be there anymore by that point, because I was just like, damn, they cut out a lot of deadweight outros. Maybe they'll cut out the outro with the child, but no, it's still there. And that's chill. I think I like that. I like this song being mostly unchanged. It still makes me feel as it always has, and I'm thankful for that. Final Church, I feel the same way. I always thought this one was a banger. It's still a banger. Just like Algorhythm, I think it still does what it does best. I think Final Church was always like an emotional and cathartic song. At least for me, it still is. And the mixing changes just elevate it that much more. And so I really appreciate that. That's what I really got to say here. All things considered, Atavista is just like, it's really a net positive. In comparison to 31520, I think it gets a lot right and not as much wrong, but what it does get wrong hurts my little fanboy brain. So it's like, it just doesn't entirely hit me the same, and I'm a person who's generally resistant to change, so that's just like a bad combination. And thanks for watching, I guess. I mean, thanks for watching, but I guess this is the end. I've never done a scripted video before, or even a semi-scripted video before. I've never sat and talked in front of a camera for a video that has seen the light of day before. I have tried. So, if you have any feedback, comments, please. Please comment feedback. If you have anything you want me to talk about, if you have any questions, if you want to ask me my opinions on things, I would love you to, so I can get video ideas. I'd love to just talk about things. I just find it hard to do that. If you enjoyed, please like, subscribe, comment, all those good fun things, because, I have not even 200 subscribers, and that's a good thing for helping me. Okay, thank you. Bye-bye. I'll try and make a funnier video next time. Bye.